It's time to check your money with America's Money Maven, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Vicki, how are you doing today? You got only 2 weeks left if you're doing holiday shopping.
George, why are you trying to send me into a panic? I was counting the days just before we decided to sit down and have our conversation today. And I tell you what, my hair's already
Oh,
curly, but it's going like, whoa.
but Vicki, I do want to say one thing before we
What?
continue. Today is my mother's birthday.
Oh, George.
So I'm glad
Happy.
I waited to share that with you. But yeah, today's my mom's birthday. And so happy heavenly birthday, Mom.
Yes, yes. Happy heavenly birthday. Because I know she's still dancing, George.
Yes. And listen, and I know she just kicked her leg up just now.
Yes, she did. Right. Well, George, we're going to go back to, last week we had a very interesting conversation concerning how to take back some of your power.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I went through a very detailed explanation on how to recognize where your money is being invested. For those of you who have 401k plans or individual investment accounts, IRAs, SEP IRAs, just plain old, stock accounts. Because if you wanted to, what would I say? Assert yourself
Yes.
into the conversations concerning some of the corporate decisions that are being made, whether or not they're beneficial to you or not, or your community. One way of doing so is to utilize your power in your portfolio. So we're going to call this from now on power in your portfolio. You remember
I
that?
like that. Is this going
Power
to
in your portfolio.
is this a series of conversations?
Yeah, your money
Okay.
is your power.
Hello.
Okay.
All right.
And if you are working with an investment manager and you have something called a separately managed account, SMA, you may see on the paperwork, you have the ability to tell your investment manager, I don't want my money being invested in certain places. And they will restructure your account so that you don't have to empower others to hurt you or hurt your communities by the way that your money is being invested. So now I thought about it, George. You and I, we have some history.
Yes, we do.
We got some years behind us. And I think it was like in the late 70s, late 60s, early 70s, that a strategy like this was employed when we were looking at and supporting the individuals there who were in South Africa concerning apartheid.
Right.
Okay. Because we realized back then that you could also vote with your dollars, is basically what I'm saying. Power in
Divestiture.
your
That was
portfolio.
the movement.
Divestiture. Okay.
Yeah.
Divestiture. So again, just remember the term separately managed account. You have the ability to direct your portfolio manager on how those money should be invested.
Which,
Now, that's not just individuals, by the way.
right. Well,
401k. Yeah, go ahead.
well, what's the difference? No, finish your thought because
Okay.
the question is directly related
I
to
mean,
that.
individuals who are in charge of endowments, who are in charge of community foundations, who are in charge of individual 401k plans, because you are working directly with portfolio managers, you also have the ability to have power in your portfolio to make decisions concerning how monies are invested, that and particularly with companies that are not looking out for community interests. Go ahead,
So,
George.
what's the difference between the term that we hear, socially conscious investing, versus what you're talking about?
There actually isn't. It's the emphasis. It became industry after we went through divestiture within of what was happening with South Africa, because there was a realization that there are individual consumers who wanted the ability to know that not only were individual companies being screened, but the entire portfolio
Polio.
is being screened for particular social issues. So that's what socially conscious investing is, versus just looking at an individual company within a portfolio that's being removed. But it's basically the same concept
Oh,
and
okay.
has the same kind of impact. So, okay, I got a couple of questions. They wanted, as far as individuals who wanted a little bit more clarity around that. So I hope that is clearer. But if you have additional questions, just give me a call or reach out to me on by email. All right, I'm
What's
going to
the email,
add.
Vicki?
Oh, sorry, George. I just assume everybody knows. Vicki.Brackens@Brackens FSN Frank Sally Nancy FSN.com.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now we're adding something to our bag of concepts this week.
All right.
And I'm going
Because
to call it.
You want to put some more power
I'm putting some more power
in that portfolio.
Power in that portfolio. Okay. And here it is. HWH. That's the acronym for us. HWH. And this is you're gonna guess it in a minute though. This is around the concept of having being successful as far as your well-being. Your total well-being is driven by HWH. Health, wealth, and home. Health, wealth, and home. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna toot my own horn here. Okay, because I know you're gonna do this in a minute. As you know, I was appointed to the Krause Hospital Board this past week.
Congratulations, Vicki. Let's give it up for Vicki Brackens. That's a big deal.
Okay. Listen, thank you. Okay. I wanted to talk about health for a while and to learn more and more about health and health care. Because if you look at this, George, when you look at the things of health, wealth, and home, health is the component that is most problematic in a retirement plan. You know why?
Why?
If you've got the retirement plan built, we spent years and years building it, we got all this money saved, and we have a major or catastrophic health event, and we are not properly prepared to handle the finances around that health event, it can destroy a retirement.
You can wipe it out.
Okay. If we are not paying attention to our health throughout our working years, then our ability to earn income to create the life that we want will not happen. If we are not paying attention to the markers and the signs and all of the things that we've been told concerning our measurements and our blood work and all those types of things, the possibility for living the life and providing the legacy that we wanted will not happen. They are tied together, absolutely. And then I looked at the fact that where we live, the surroundings that we have, the conditions under which we lay our head also drive our total well-being when combined with health and wealth. So that's going to be our concept, okay, that we're going to work through over the next few months. But I'm going to add it to all of the other concepts that we have as far as zero no more. And you'll start to see how all these things tie together, and our financial pyramid and how net worth works, all of those types of things. But we're going to start out or end the year and start the beginning of the year on health, wealth, and home. Questions, George?
No, I mean, health, wealth, and home, it makes sense to me. And I think, especially around health, I'm also think what my mind immediately went to is ways to protect your investments so that when and if a catastrophic health event happens, you are set up. There's ways to manage that, if you will, that have the least impact. That's the word. That's my words.
That is also true, and that's one of the things that we'll talk about. But let's try and start at the beginning and not have the event.
No, true that.
Because of the way that we're managing our health.
Right.
And I remember a good friend of yours, Mr. JT
Houston, yes.
Houston used to talk us all the time about what to do as far as getting our body in shape and what we ate and all that kind of stuff. So we may touch back on some of those concepts also. All right, I have some announcements to make.
You do?
I do.
What you got going on?
It's not Vicki's announcement. It's actually a celebration announcement, and that is this.
There's some stuff going on in this town.
$6.14 billion. What do you think that's about, George? $6.14 billion.
It's not a bag of chips, is it?
It's not a bag of chips, no, George.
But it got to do with some chips.
Yes. Oh, look at you.
Come on, Vicki. Where you at? Come on, Vicki. Talk to me.
It absolutely has to do with some chips.
Thank you.
The final deal, the final sign off to release the $6.14 billion from the federal government to finalize the Micron deal here in upstate New York, here in Syracuse, in Onondaga County, for the fabrication plants to build four microchip fabrication plants in upstate New York was signed this week. I don't want to. I said it before. I don't want to hear anything about is this going to happen. As I said, the check is not in the mail. The check is in the bank now.
In the bank, baby.
In the bank now. Okay, so this is happening. The whole county is already torn up. They've already started because they knew this was going to happen. But now it is really, really real, for real.
For real.
Because the check is in the bank. Now, what does that mean to Syracuse? Folks, please. You've got to get on board with the training programs that will open the doors to a totally different type of industry than we've had here ever in Syracuse or even across the country. Syracuse is now, and Onondaga County, this entire corridor, because remember, George, the entire corridor from Buffalo all the way to Albany was designated as, within the CHIPS Act for revitalization and the leading edge for chip manufacturing. This is basically, I don't know what name we're going to call it, because it came up with, this cute name, Silicon Valley. So we're going to work on a branded name. But basically what we're saying is you are now living in the next generation of industry within Central New York, because within 90 miles, we are now controlling and the leading edge of chip manufacturing across the country. And that is a 20-year project that will continue to generate different types of businesses, generate different types of opportunities, different type of innovation. The cat's out of the bag. We are running. You got to get on the train.
I got one. My brain has been triggered by what can we call it? Could we call it Salt City Silicon?
Oh, we'll put that in the bag. We'll see.
She hates it.
I don't want these people in Silicon Valley to have anything to do with our name. I'm being selfish.
They got Silicon Alley in New York City, so why can't we be Salt City Silicon or Silicon Salt City?
We'll work on that with George. Okay.
All right,
we'll see what people call in and tell us. Okay. In fact, we've got enough folks listening that they can start throwing out ideas as to what the branded name for this region should be. Now that we know that and are sure and that this is happening, we need to get a name and we need to get branded quickly. What were you about to tell me?
No, I said you got some other news.
I got some other news. Congratulations to Mr. Robert Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
Most of you know Mr. Robert Simmons because he was the head of the foundation for Micron, and he's been intricately involved with some of the chip camps and all of the things, working with young people around the area. Well, Mr. Robert Simmons is now the National Grid VP of U.S. Social Impact and the Executive Director of the National Grid Foundation. So that's a big deal. We're happy. Okay, we're happy for the fact that he's not leaving us.
No, he'll be back.
He's actually going to be back more. Okay?
More, because it's based in New York.
It's based in New York, but I do believe that National Grid building for upstate New York still sits on Erie Boulevard.
Yes, it is.
And I expect to see him here in the local area often. Okay, all right. All right, so we got the $6 billion. We got the National Grid. We've talked about health, wealth, and home.
You got one more?
Yes, I do.
I know that's right.
Yes, I do. All right. You ready, George?
I'm ready.
February 23rd, 2025, the 17th year that Brackens Financial Solutions Network has partnered with the Central New York Jazz and Arts Foundation for the Black History Month Jazz and Arts Cabaret. This year's performer is...
Oh, I have a drum roll. I don't know why I use it.
Two things are part of this announcement. This year's performer is Miss Jessie J, international saxophonist, who just finished her tour from the UK.
Really?
And
And
we are moving on up
go ahead.
to the ballroom.
Really?
We are moving on up to the 10th floor, to the ballroom this
Is
year.
is that bigger than the place we were in?
We are moving on up, George,
Okay.
to the ballroom, on
Nice.
the 10th floor of the Marriott downtown Syracuse with all the beautiful frescoes and with all the
So
beautiful.
we it's a little elegance here.
It's a little elegance. We make it. I want to see folks looking like the top of the town when you show up
Okay.
this year. You
Okay.
always look good, but we are moving up to the ballroom this year.
Okay.
10th floor, which means get there early.
Yeah.
It means get there early because we realize we got to get 400 some odd people up from the first floor up to the 10th floor on the elevators. So you can't slide in like you do sometimes on the first floor to be there for the kickoff of the performance. February 23rd. Also, I've already received calls on tables being bought. I would tell you, don't wait to the last minute. Especially if you're trying to put a group together, you probably need to reach out to CNY Jazz right now.
So they've released it. They've released it. It's all ready to go.
Yes, we're ready to go. Okay, ready to go. And for tables, you need to call. You can't do that online. You need to call. Okay, to make sure that you can get your groups together, get everybody situated the way that you want to. And the hotel may be packed this year because I've also had some kind of whispering about folks that are staying over. So if you're trying to make a hotel reservation, I'd also do that early. Okay, George.
You can take a breath now.
Woo, I think I can. I had a long, long list. Here's the final list. Final thing on the list.
You got one more thing. Okay.
Okay, one more thing. I have a question for business owners.
Mm-hmm.
If you own a business and I told you that you had a form that needed to be filled out, and if you didn't get it filled out in time, it was going to cost you $591 a day in penalties, would you pay attention?
Yeah.
Okay, listen again. If you're a business owner, I'm asking you a question. If I told you there was a form that you needed to fill out, and you found out that if you ignored that form, it was going to cost you $591 a day in penalties, would you pay attention?
Yes.
And you said yes. That means next week you need to listen to this show.
Okay.
Next week you need to listen to this show because the friendly neighborhood advisor, Mr. Michael Jennings, is going to be on air talking to business owners about the fact that you are facing potentially facing a $591 penalty because of a form that you haven't filled out that's been due for the last 2 years.
Ooh.
For the last 2 years, okay? So tune in next week to the friendly neighborhood advisor. George, at this point in time, I will say our plate is full.
All right, Vicki, what's the phone one? You want to give us a phone number, a website, or anything like that?
All right, George, okay. 315-930-4499 is the phone number, extension 102, or info@brackensfsn.com. That's info@brackensfsn.com. We'd love to hear from you. We're looking forward to everybody on the 23rd. We're looking forward to every business owner next week tuning in. Tell your friends. They need to tune in too. Okay.
And by the way, Vicki, not just online, but on all the platforms, TikTok,
everyone.
YouTube, all of them, right?
I think we're on every platform now.
We're on every platform, yeah.
Every platform. All right, then. So now, George, thank you very much for the reminder. Our plate is full.
All right, Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial member SIPC. She is America's Money Maven.